Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is a video I've been working on for a while. It is the full FAHKUMRAM guide. Now, I've been doing a lot of anti-guides for FAHKUMRAM, but I thought it was about time that I give you guys a full guide for the character. We're not going to be going over setups in this video, although in another video I might be doing some setups and some other Oki stuff as well. This video will mostly cover basically all the essential stuff you need to know about FAHKUMRAM, and all of his key moves, all of his heat engages, punishers, whiff punishers, lows, all of that sort of thing, launchers. I also have already done a video on his combos, but without much more being said, let's get on with the video because we do have a lot to go through, obviously being a full guide. So first off, we're going to go through FAHKUMRAM's strengths. He has a very, very long reach. If the bot doesn't follow me, as you can see, 3 is a very, very long reach poke. Back 3+4 on counter hit. This knocks down for a guaranteed forward 1+2. This will make more sense when we go through the actual moves, but I just want to give you a general idea of how he's played. So long reach and keep out, FAHKUMRAM is very, very, very good at. He also has a reversal break with his back forward 4. That black and white slash, that trail on the move, basically means that it will go through power crushes and parries. He has very high combo damage with some execution. The execution for these combos are quite high. And some combos are very specific to small characters. This combo is much harder to do on a big character like Paul, for example. But it works very, very well against small characters. There's little niche things like that with this character. His whiff punishers are exceptionally good, like back 1, for example, or forward 1+2. There are a lot of different whiff punishers. We're going to go over them, so don't worry. And then one thing that FAHKUMRAM is really, really good at is actually counter hits. You might not think so at first glance, but he has a ton of really good counter hits. Down 4 turning into a throw on counter hit. Full crouch down forward 2, giving you a guaranteed forward 1+2. 3+4 being the best counter hit button he has, and also tracking to people sidestepping him to the right, leading to a big full launcher, which I mess up the combo for, but you get my point. Back 3+4, knockdown into guaranteed forward 1+2. There's a ton of really good counter hits that FAHKUMRAM actually has. A lot of them actually being lows as well. So yeah, FAHKUMRAM has a ton of really, really good counter hit tools. Now moving on to weaknesses, he is very punishable. Stuff that you guess wrong on can leave you very punishable. -14. -13 mid-high. Like, there's a lot of stuff that leaves you very punishable. So we have to be very, very careful about how we use our moves. So a lot of launch punishable lows as well. A lot of launch punishable stuff. -14, -14, -5. The first hit of back 2-1 is -15, but that's because it becomes safe, so that's kind of fine. A lot of launch punishable moves and not finishing strings can leave you quite punishable. String mix-ups, including guard breaks, are very option selectable. So your string mix-ups, especially the guard breaks, you have to be very careful about how you use them, right? So yeah, you have to be very, very careful with string mix-ups. A lot of them have very, very consistent option select. No panic buttons. He doesn't have Feng's back 1. You can maybe argue that he has 1+2 as a panic button, although it's very, very risky to throw out. We'll talk about that later. But his down forward 1 is 15 frames startup and -3. This is a very slow down forward 1. He has 3, which is his keep out tool, and 3 has extensions. But as you can see, as a quick mid check that keeps your turn, like a typical down forward 1 would do for, let's say, like Lee or Law, for example, FAHKUMRAM doesn't have that. -9 for a 13 frame mid poke, which is linear to either side. You can step this either side. Down forward 1's usually a 13 frame, so he's quite slow and clunky. And also the last weakness I'm going to go over is he's very linear. He's very prone to sidestepping. He's very linear, so you have to be very careful about how you approach your opponent and very conscious of which side they're going to step, and then use the appropriate move to track them, or the appropriate selection of moves to track them sidestepping you. With that all being said, his weaknesses and strengths, we're going to go over some heat engages now. Forward 1+2. Heat engager. Pretty long range. It is safe at -4. It's obviously a mid. It's also fully heat dash launches. So it's definitely a good move to throw out. Just be careful about being sidestepped. This move is very linear. Down forward 1-4, another very good heat engager. Down forward 1 extension. So although his down forward 1 is -3, it does have extensions, as you saw at the start. -5 mid-high. This also heat dash launches, full launcher. So it is pretty good for a whiff punish if you're close enough. Back 3, this key homing move. It is 16 frames fast. It is a high. It knocks down a normal hit, and it also fully heat dash launches. This is a very good whiff punish when you're in heat to launch somebody. Up forward 3, again, a very fast heat engager, a 14 frame startup. It's a mid. You can step this to the left, and also when he's in heat, this will give a heat dash slump, and you'll get forward 2-1-2 for Garuda Force guaranteed. While standing 1-2, 13 frame punish, mid high. So people can duck the second hit. It is safe at -9. And -4 is just the while standing 1. This is sidesteppable to the left. And it is also hit confirmable. And in heat, this will give a heat dash slump yet again, for a guaranteed forward 2-1-2. Right, now moving on to punishes. Its 10 frame is 1-4. High. People can step this, although if they have any range on you, so if you have any range on them, this second hit will clip people sidestepping either direction. But it is a good 10 frame punish. 2-1, 12 frame punish. High again, and it is -12. You can mix this up with 2-3, although you can interrupt the second hit here. But this is your 12 frame punish. You can also use 4-3 as a 12 frame punish for +6, but no knockdown. So pick and choose which one you want. Also, this will not wall splat. This will wall splat. Back 2-1, 14 frame punish. High, -9. The first hit is -15, so do be careful of that. I should also say that 2-1, you can step this either way. Back 2-1, you can step this either way. And then back 1 is another 14 frame punish, which gives you a guaranteed forward 1+2 for Garuda Force, which we'll go over later as well. But this is really good. This is the one that I would use for a 14 frame punish, because although it's -13, this is one that's very good to use as a whiff punish as well. So it's good to get that into your head before you start choosing which one you want to punish. Also, this does have some tracking to sidestep right. They have to sidestep left, this one, not just either direction. Down forward 2-3, 15 frame launcher. It is mid-high, -13. He can also do down forward 2-1 to mix them up, but both options are -13, so it's not the best mix-up. Down forward 2-3 is the 15 frame launcher. This has tracking to sidestep left, so people will have to sidestep right this one. Judge the range properly, because although most of his moves will hit from about here, the down forward 2 will not. So make sure that you're in the correct distance before using that punish. While standing punishes, we have while standing 4. This can be stepped either direction. Just a generic while standing 4, -6. While standing 1-2, we've already gone over this. This is one of his heat engagers. -4 on the first hit. -9 on the second. And fully hit confirmable. Also a heat engager. Also a heat dash slump for guaranteed forward 2-1-2. While standing 3, your 15 frame launcher. This tracks. People will have to sidestep this to the left. 15 frame startup, of course. -14 mid. You can get some very good damage off this launcher. This is his typical 15 frame launch from while standing. As you can see, big juicy damage just from a 15 frame launcher. Now that's block punishes. We're going to go for whiff punishes very quickly. Down forward 3+4. This is a 13 frame, not a mid check, because it is -10, as you can see. In Garuda Force, this has an extension, which is why I've put it in the whiff punishes. Because if he hits with this, it's 40 damage into a RAMA stance mix-up. We will go over RAMA stance mix-ups later, but it's something to be aware of. This is very good when FAHKUMRAM is in heat and he has Garuda Force. Down back 4, high crushes. It is a high as well. This is -6 on block. People can step this to either side, but it knocks down for a guaranteed forward 1+2, which gives you Garuda Force. It is very good. Back 1, as we've already talked about, is very good for whiff punishes. Knocks down for a guaranteed forward 1+2. Up forward 3, we covered this at the start of the video, is heat engager. It's very fast, but be careful of the range, because it might seem like it has more range than it does. but it is very, very fast, and people have to step this to the left. If they try and step to the right here, it will clip them, as you can see. So this is a good move to use because people usually with long range knees or mid-range knees like this, people assume that you can step them either direction. You actually have to step this to the left. Minus 14 though, so be careful. Use this as a whiff punisher or just a snipe to call someone out. Down forward 1, 2. 15 frame startup, just down forward 1. Knocks down for a guaranteed forward 1 plus 2 to give you Garuda. It's minus 13. You can also use down forward 1, 4, which is the next whiff punish here. This will be your whiff punish full heat dash launcher into very big damage. 79 damage. 79 damage from a heat dash launcher. That is not something to scoff at. It's very, very good. Also, because the down forward 1 tracks right, sidestep right, they have to sidestep this left, so it's a good tracking move. We will also go over tracking moves, so don't worry. Forward 1 plus 2. This is more of a snipe from far away. Huge range, as you can see. And if somebody is stepping either direction, you can delay the second forward, just like Reyna's forward 2, and it will track them. You see, if I do it immediate timing, it whiffs. If I delay the second forward long enough, at least, it will track them. Something to keep in mind when you're trying to snipe with this move. As I said before, it has huge range, absolutely monstrous range. So you can use this to catch people out. Beware that it is minus 14. Back forward 4. This is used to catch people stepping to the right, although it is also very good as a whiff punisher because it has very decent range, as you can see. Again, full launcher. It's also reversal breaks, like I said at the start of the video, so it beats parries and power crushes. People will have to step this to the right. If people are sidestepping left against you, this is one of the moves that you'll use to counter that. Plus 6 on block, by the way. Plus 6. Very, very, very good. The last one is down forward 2, 3. You might think it has more range than it does because of FAHKUMRAM's moveset. You know, if this hits from range, range 3, then you might expect this to. It doesn't. It has decent range, as you can see, but just not maybe as much as you might think. Now let's talk about lows. Down forward 3 is a minus 1 on hit. Minus 13. It's going to be stepped either way. It's also counter hit knocks down for more damage. On counter hit, this does 18 damage. It's very, very decent. Without counter hit, it does not do nearly as much. 15 damage. With counter hit, it does more damage. People will step this either way, but it's pretty decent. Just be aware that it's minus 13 and minus 1 on hit. Next, we have down 4. Not a low that should be overlooked. Although it is launch punishable at minus 15, it has tracking to either side. It's 14 frame startup. It is minus 4 on hit, but on counter hit, this transitions into a throw for 41 damage, as opposed to 18 damage. That is more than double the original damage. It also tracks either side. It's very, very good as a tracking move. Forward 3. This is a very long range low that also tracks sidestep right. People have to sidestep this to the left. Minus 14. Big, big, big range. This is one of your lows to get in. Not many characters have a low like this. But it's also very, very good as Oki as well, because if you notice people trying to tech roll to the right side, you can use this to trap them, as well as some other, hell sweeps and stuff like this, which we'll go over later. Full crouch down forward 2. This also tracks sidestep right, so people have to sidestep this to the left. It is minus 14. This also counter hit knocks down for a guaranteed forward 1 plus 2, although I have the bot set to recovery kick, which is why he's doing that. If I get into tech roll, there we go. And if he tries to quick stand here, even though it doesn't say it's guaranteed like a true combo, they can't do anything there. That will just beat everything. So that full crouch down forward 2, forward 1 plus 2 is the follow-up for that. And then down 3, this is part of a string, down forward 3, 4 strings. This low on its own is kind of garbage. It's got decent range, but to be honest, from here I would just use down 4 if you're going to use something like that. It does track to either side, but the only reason I would use this is if you're trying to do something like this. So that's it with the lows. Now we're going to move on to generally good moves you want to use in the neutral. Up forward 2 is a safe high power crush at -7. People will step this either way. It's very linear, but it is very good as a get the fuck off me tool. So don't shy away from using it. I actually need to use that more. Forward 3+4 is his other power crush. This is mid, but it also gives him Garuda force, which we will go over later, don't worry. But it is something to bear in mind. This does not wall splat, by the way. It does not wall splat. Whereas up forward 2, I think up forward 2 does wall splat. It does, yes. Making sure that I was correct on that. So yeah, that's forward 3+4 and up forward 2. They are your 2 power crushes. Down 1, not to be overlooked. It doesn't have the best range. It is -5 on block, and on hit it is +8. You can also stay crouched to do a full crouch mix-up here, which is really, really good not to be overlooked. It can be stepped either direction, but on counter hit, there's guarantees while standing 1-2. And if you're in heat and you do this, this gives very, very big damage. 65 damage. Which is really, really good. If you trade against this, I'm not going to do this in this video. Maybe I'll do trades in another video. But if this trades, you actually get down forward 2-3 guaranteed here. It's actually guaranteed if this trades with a jab. So definitely don't overlook this move. It is really, really good. And now our next down move is down 2. This is also not to be overlooked. Although it's -9, so meaning it's safe, it is a special low, meaning also +2 on block, 12 frame startup, which is really, really decent. Special lows cannot be low parried. So this is definitely not something to overlook. Also, there's high crushes as well. So it is very, very useful. Just be careful about range because it has really trash range. But if you're up close, this is also a very good round ender tool to use down 2. It is really, really, really good. Sidestep 4 is very, very good. Sidestep moves are always really, really good. -11, 50 frame startup. If you delay the move from the sidestep, it will track. Most of the time, you'll be confirming a whiff and then hitting the 4 button. So sidestep, confirm the whiff, then 4. Forward 1+2 is guaranteed here. Forward 4-1. This is a hell sweep fake out. Does -3 on block, mid. Forces crouch, can be sidestepped either direction. It kind of tracks and kind of doesn't. If you delay the second forward or if they don't step at the right time because it's quite slow to come out, this will track. Also very good for Oki. This is slow and reactable. You can also pair this with forward 4-3-2, which is the hell sweep. If I do this, obviously you can see the hell sweep staggers there. But on counter hit, as you saw there, the whole hell sweep is guaranteed. Without counter hit, this is neutral on hit, right? Because the hell sweep isn't guaranteed. There's no like clean hit or anything like that. Yeah, low mid, low staggers on the hell sweep, neutral on hit. This is also slow and reactable. Although in heat, this is where this becomes much more scary to deal with. You can use this as Oki at the wall, where it's more difficult to sidestep and you have to make decisions quicker. Your opponent does, at least. This is where this becomes much more useful. This also breaks walls. We'll go over that later. But it's something to think about for now. 2-3. On counter hit, this whole string is guaranteed 37 damage. And this also, of course, wall splats on counter hit. It is high mid. It is also slightly delayable. Counter hit string guaranteed and wall splats. This can be interrupted though, so be careful. And then downward 1 is something we are going to use in the neutral. Downward 1 being -3, it is still something we want to use in the neutral because we want to use our strings. We will talk about strings later, but for now, just be aware that downward 1 has some of the best strings, especially in heat. Partly because you can do down forward 1-4-4, which is very good for people trying to option select your guard breaks by doing a sidestep right block, which is the usual counter. And then also something to use as keep out. 3 is -9 on block. We've already talked about 3. Has follow-ups in 3-1-4 or 3-1-2. 3 is good. It has very, very good range. Can be sidestepped either direction, but it is definitely one of his best keep out tools. Or just get the fuck away from me. I have this here, right? Another get the fuck away from me tool, but is a little bit more risky to use, is his back 3+4. Has very long reach. On counter hit, it knocks down for a guaranteed forward 1+2. It is -13. It is a mid. Comes out at 17 frames. It is also very linear, so it can be sidestepped either direction. This is a keep out move. Also, if you whiff this from range 3, it's not the end of the world because it recovers quite fast. For a move like this, at least anyway, try and gauge the distance properly, because if you do it from here, you see there's no pushback and people will always get their punish. So something to be aware of there. Next, talking about tracking moves, we have down 4. This tracks to either side, so it is very, very good, especially against people trying to do sidestep button, which will give you that counter hit 41 damage, which is really, really good. Next, we have 3+4. This is his key counter hit launcher. This tracks sidestep right as well. It is -9, mid, 18 frames, so it's safe. Counter hit launcher. So if I put counter on, big damage. Big damage from this launcher. This is the best counter hit button that FAHKUMRAM has, is his 3+4. It's really, really good. So use this a lot. Next, we can talk about down forward 1. This also tracks sidewalk right or sidestep right. You have to sidewalk this to the left, actually, because if I just do sidestep left, this will also track. People have to sidewalk this to the left. There is something there to bear in mind as well. We've already talked about down forward 1. We don't need to go over that again. Forward 3. Already talked about this low. Has amazing range. Definitely one of his best lows, especially for Oki, but also tracking people, stepping you to the right. This has very, very good tracking. Even if I do it on immediate timing, not delaying the second forward, it will still track them, sidestepping you to the right. Next, we can talk about full crouch down forward 2. Again, another low that tracks sidestep right, which is very, very key. As we said before, guarantees forward 2, forward 1+2 on knockdown, or on counter hit, I should say. But yes, very, very good, not to be overlooked. Use this for tracking as well as just a general low, right? Next, we have down forward 4. This is to track people sidestepping you left. Down forward 4-1 has 2 different variations. You can do down forward 4-1, which is -6, mid-high, not delayable, so you really do have to commit here. And then you also have down forward 4-3, which is mid-mid, being -12. And then the last move, which is one of the most important call-outs that FAHKUMRAM has, is his back forward 4, being +6, high, so people can duck this, so you have to be careful. It also reversal breaks, as we've already gone over, but this also tracks very, very heavily to sidestep left. 4 moves before we go on to another section here. 4 moves that I really want you to take note of here. If they're sidestepping left, you might want to do back forward 4. If they do sidestep left into duck, you might want to do down forward 4, because it is also a safe mid at -6. Really, really important. This is a very good neutral tool, just doing that. Because if you fail it and they're not sidestepping, then the worst that happens is you give up your turn. If you commit to a string, they can duck and punish you, right? Or if you commit to this, if they block this as well, you're -12. So if people are doing sidestep right duck, you can test this, right? You can test this to see if they're doing it. The other way, so if people are sidewalking right, the key move you want to use here is your down forward 1. That is your move to track people sidestepping right. Although if you want something to commit to, you can do something like forward 3. But down forward 1 or 3+4, if you want a counter hit, right? If they're doing sidestep button, these 2 moves are the key moves to use tracking sidestep right. Obviously, this is a bit quicker than this, but if you want to call out, this is your button to use. Next, we can talk about keep out. We've already talked about his 3 button. Can be stepped either way, but it has extensions and mental frames, right? And the extensions can be quite scary, right? And there's a lot of mental stack there with people dealing with that. So 3 is not to be overlooked. It is a very good move, mid at -9, that has tremendous reach. So really, really good. Back 3, also a very, very good keep out move, because it is homing and it has decent reach. People are going to be very scared to step you. They're going to be playing more 2D against you, which is what you want really as FAHKUMRAM. So you can do all your guard breaks and all the rest of it. So this is a good move to condition to people to not step. Obviously homings usually are, but this is quite fast. And in heat, this becomes a full launcher. As you can see, I fucked up the combo, but you you get the point, right? Not to be overlooked, his homing. His best homing move for sure. Back 3+4. We've already talked about this a little bit. Tremendous reach. Can be stepped either direction. At tip range, this becomes very, very difficult to punish. So make sure you judge the range properly. And on counter hit, like we've said before, this guarantees a forward 1+2. And then back forward 4, which we've just talked about as well. You can argue this is good as keep out as well. People will be much more afraid of doing heat bursts and stuff like this. This is more of a pressure tool as well, because if people try and get out of pressure and try and do their heat burst, right, or power crush or parry, this is your offensive tool to their defensive tool. And then we can go over launchers. We've already been over them, but just in case you're skipping around in the video, we'll go over them quickly. 3+4 counter hit launcher, -9 safe mid, that tracks sidestep right. Down forward 2-3. 15 frame punish, -13. This tracks sidestep left. Judge the distance properly because this doesn't have the best range. While standing 3, another generic 15 frame launcher from crouch. This can't be parried, which is actually very, very good. Or it can't be parried by most things anyway. -14, so make sure that you judge this correctly. Say if you duck something, make sure you have enough frames to do this, because a lot of moves recover quite quickly on whiff in this game. This also tracks sidestep right. So another move to use as a tracking move while standing 3. Just albeit a much more committing one. Back forward 4, which we've talked about twice already, so I'm not going to go over that. But this is a normal hit launcher. And then forward 1+2 is also a normal hit launcher. Huge range, can step this either way. Can delay the second forward for more tracking though, making it more of a tracking move. But it is -14, so use it very, very sparingly, or if you're doing a hard read. And then for launchers as well, all of the charge moves on full charge will launch on normal hit. So that is 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, full charge. 4, 3, 4, full charge. 3, 4, 3, full charge. Down 3, 4, 3, 4, full charge. Down forward 1, 4, 3, full charge. And forward 3, 2, 4, 3, full charge as well. They are all full launchers, all on normal hit. Right at the end here for the launchers, you can put up forward 4 in here, but it is a very garbage move, and I would stay the hell away from this one. It does launch on normal hit. However, it is -16. Even if you use it as a keep out tool, it is very linear, and the chances are you won't be far enough away to not be punished. See how much trouble I am having trying to keep it at tip range, and even if you get it at tip range, I end up here anyway, so I'm just going to get launched. So stay the hell away from up forward 4. Don't use it ever. Okay, moving on. And then he has 2 parries. He has a punch parry and a kick parry. I want to go over very quickly. The first one is his punch parry with back 2+4. Giving him +7 with Garuda Force, with the Garuda Force token. He doesn't actually get any free damage here, but he is at +7 with Garuda Force, so it is your turn if you land this punch parry. The other parry is his kick parry with back 1+3. This one actually does do damage just by itself. You just press back 1+3 and he will do these 3 kicks. Also, one thing to note about this kick parry is at the wall, it will wall splat for a big juicy damage combo, which I messed up. Let me just show you that again. 77 damage. Very, very good. Not something to overlook. The parries are risky, but they are very effective when they work. Throws, he has very generic throws. Generic throws, which you break with 1 or 2, and then he has a command throw, which is a up forward 1+2, which you break with 1+2. He doesn't have any other throws apart from in RAMA stance. He has 1 unbreakable throw, which we will go over when we get to it. Now moving on to the mix-ups section of this guide. There are a few things we need to go over first before we go over all of the different strings I want you guys to use, and very specifically. Okay, there is a bit to go over here. Basically, there is a lot of option selects with FAHKUMRAM strings, so I'm going to use the 3 string here to explain certain things about the guard breaks or the charge moves in general. Okay, so we're going to use 3-4-3 as our example move, which covers all different charge moves. Like, you know, like this. You can apply this to this, or even the knee ones like this, right? all of these, what I'm about to say, can be applied to all of those, right? Okay, all of those tornado kick, or the knee charges as well, okay? First off, if you hold forward when you're charging them up, you can feint and go into crouch. From here, you can do while standing moves, sorry, or you can do your full crouch moves, which is really, really good, right? Albeit being quite slow to come out. Also, you can hold back when charging, as you can see on the command history there. You can hold back to counter into a homing, which is -7 and a mid. Okay. Now I'm gonna explain the way that people option select these strings to make it clear to you guys how to spot when somebody is doing this. Okay. So I've got the bot here to do the 3-4-3 variations, right? So he has 3-4-3, which you can side step right block. Even as FAHKUMRAM, this works, by the way. So you can side step right block, and it will be fine. This is what your opponent will do. The charge one, if you side step right block, will fully whiff. This is what your opponent will do, again. Also, you might feint here. I mean, but it's quite slow, right? You can see how long it takes him to get there. And then the other move to really be aware of is the homing cancel, which your opponent will still be covered by side step right block. I know this is a little bit detailed for a guide, for a general guide, but those 4 things are incredibly important for you to know about when doing these string mix-ups. If you notice your opponent doing those, you're going to have to think a bit more carefully about how you want to apply your offense. Okay, with that being said, the strings I want you to use, first off, we're going to go through bunches of strings, okay? We have 1-1, a full counter hit string. It can be stepped left or right, and is -9, high, mid. Very, very good. 1-4, it's your 10 frame punish. We've already talked about this. You can set this either way, but from a certain distance. The second hit, the 4 here, will track either side. 1-2, 1-4, these third hits and 4th hit can be delayed. You can also hit confirm the final hit after the 3rd hit for a knockdown or a wall splat. You can also do 1-2, 4-3, but be aware because these are all highs, right? However, if they try and do that side step right block, this will clip them, okay? Usually the option to select with the 1 strings is to wait for 3 hits and then side step right block. But if you add that 4th hit here, or they try and interrupt, this last hit, as you can see, this fully launches, or I didn't do the proper combo. I'm going to do something like this. There's a much better combo that you can do. However, this is a counter hit launcher. The last hit of that is really, really important. -7 for the whole string. So you are safe here, but they are all high, so be very, very careful about using that. 1-2, 4-3, 4. -5. Can charge the knee to make it +9. This also is the guard break in Garuda, which we will go over. But this is the guard break here. If you don't do the guard break here, but you do the normal version, this will counter hit knockdown for a guaranteed forward 1+2. The only other variation here is 1-2, 4-4. The last hit is -15. Be very, very careful. This is also part of the option select for this string. Be careful with that as well. Your opponent can sidestep right after the 3rd hit here, so it will avoid the low. But not many people know that, so you can maybe knowledge check here if you want. Now moving on to the 3 strings, the string starting with the 3 button. He has 3-1-2, which is mid, high, high. Last hit, as you can see, is neutral on block. Delayable. The last hit will counter hit knockdown for a guaranteed forward 1+2. Or forward 2-1. It's actually forward 2-1, but you have to dash a little bit there first. Or forward 1+2 if you want the Garuda force. 3-1-4 is a mid-high mid, -14. You can also delay the second hit quite a bit. It also knocks down on final hit. And then we also have 3-1 down 4, which is mid, high, low, -15. So be very, very careful. You can slightly delay that last hit as well. And the last hit will counter hit just like the down 4 will usually. 3-4. On counter hit, this is all guaranteed. However, it is not guaranteed on normal hit, right? So 3-1, natural. 3-4, not natural, and it's -12. This is also delayable. Can be stepped either way, by the way. And the last hit will counter hit knockdown for a guaranteed forward for 1+2, which is good. Next, we have 3-4-3. Full counter hit, fully guaranteed on counter hit, which is really, really good. Just like the other charge moves, you can do all of this stuff and the guard break. And in Garuda, you will get this guard break for the guaranteed stance mix-up with RAMA stance. Just like the others, -7, -7. Can charge the last one for +9 if he's not in Garuda. And I already showed you this counter hit knocks down for guaranteed forward 1+2. We also have another move here, which is 3-4-4. Really, really good. Mid, high, but the high is homing. And +3. The last hit here will also counter hit knockdown for guaranteed forward 1+2. One thing to note about these strings, this can be option selected. The whole thing can be option selected because every single variation is a high or it comes out quite late. They've locked the first hits here. All they have to do is duck into a dick jab and it will beat all their options. Your option to counter that, counterplay, is to do 3-4 because it's mid-mid, right? It's the only variation that's quick that goes into a mid instead of a high. Now we're going to go to the forward 3 strings now. Forward 3-2-1 ends in a high. The second hit is -12, by the way. Just something to be aware of. Mid, mid, high. The last hits, or the last 2 hits, is guaranteed knockdown. And also the last hit will knock down as well. Forward 3-2-4. -12. Again, the second hit will be -12, just like the other one. The last hit of this will counter hit knockdown for a guaranteed 41 damage with forward 1+2. We now have some actual mix-ups here because of those strings. Forward 3-2-4-3. Just like the other charge moves that we've gone over already. It's the same deal with, you know, if this counter hit knocks down, you get forward 2 guaranteed, just like the other ones. And we also have forward 3-2-4-4, which you can blue spark. I will talk about blue sparks after I've done all the strings. But the reason these are mix-ups is because if people try and step you, you have... there's no way of people guaranteeing to get away from this guard break because you might hit them with the homing here, right? Or you might do this. So they have to be a bit more careful. These strings, the forward 3 strings here, are actually mix-ups. They're really, really good. Also, the next bunch of strings that I'm going to mention now, which is the down forward 1 variants, are the other mix-ups that he has, albeit not as good as the forward 3 strings. So we have forward 1-2, which we've already gone over. Knocks down for guaranteed forward 1+2. -13. Can also be power crush in between the first and second hit, by the way. However, he has down forward 1-4, which he can mix. These two options, the down forward 1-2 and down forward 1-4, can be fuzzied, so pay attention to your opponent. If they start doing this, in between the down forward 1 and the extension, especially when you do this, right? If you do this and you see them do this, right? They're fuzzying it properly. So be very, very careful. And if you notice your opponent doing that, be very careful about trying to use them as mix-ups. We have down forward 1-4-3. So from his down forward 1, he can also do these charges, right? Really, really good. Just like the others, this will counter hit knockdown for a guaranteed forward 1+2, as well as, you know, all of this stuff, which we've already gone over. You can also do down forward 1-4-4, which is also really, really good. This is where the proper mix-up begins, because you have these paired with this and this. This is actually proper mix-up stuff. There's not like a simple answer against this stuff. So I would say the best strings are the ones I just mentioned to use. All of them have their uses, right? But forward 3-2 and down forward 1 strings for the guard breaks, especially the guard breaks. These are the strings that you will do your guard breaks from. Very, very good. Unless you have them at the wall and they can't sidestep right, then you can think about doing stuff like this or this. Right? Then you can think about doing that. Otherwise, out in the open, I would definitely recommend forward 3-2, and a down forward 1. And then we can talk about blue sparks very, very quickly. So the 4-4 options all can be blue sparked. It is quite a tight window. You will be using this for combos, and make sure that you get this down. He does have some execution, but I think that's pretty cool, right? That he has some execution like this. But yeah, make sure you try and get that down. It will make your combos a lot easier because it puts them up higher, so you can do your combos a little bit more consistently. A little mix up here. Down forward 3-3 is a mid at +2. The reason he fakes out here is because of your down forward 3, which we've already gone over as a low, -13. However, if you do down forward 3-3, it turns into a mid at +2. It can be sidestepped left or either the way, but if I was playing against FAHKUMRAM, I would sidestep this left. And also on normal hit, this guarantees a forward 1+2. Now we will go over plus frame moves. So for the plus frames, first off, the charge variations of all the strings I showed you. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Guard break in Garuda, by the way. All of these are guard breaks in Garuda. 3-4-3. Forward 3-2-4-3. You charge them. Down forward 1-4-3. You can charge them all. There is also this and this, which you can charge. So we can do the 4 strings. You can look up the strings that start with a 4, but you will see that they're all option selectable. And also the 3 versions are absolute garbage. I just would stay away from the 3-4-4 stuff. So that's the charge variations of the strings. We have down forward 3-3, which I've already shown you just a minute ago. We have forward 4. 25 frames slow. It's +3. It is very linear, can be sidestepped either way. This does force crouch, and on counter hit, this gives you 14 frames. So you can do a back 1 into forward 1+2 for 57 damage. So not something to overlook. It is very, very good. While running 3, this is your one of your main plus frame moves here. +6. People might think that you can step either way here. However, you can step it left, you can't step it right. It does have tracking to the right. People can step it, but it has more tracking to the right, I should say. Right, you can step this either direction, but it does have some tracking to the right side. +6 on block, pretty decent. It is making you go airborne, so it can be floated, but it is a really, really good move. One of his best plus frame tools. Back forward 4, we've already talked about this before. Very high plus frames of +6. 3-4-4. Forward 3-2-4-4 and down forward 1-4-4 are all +3 homing extensions from those strings that we've already gone over. Now, going on to Garuda. In heat, FAHKUMRAM will have Garuda all the time. You see in the top left corner, that token is glowing red. This means he has Garuda. So if I do something like using a Garuda move, you see I still have it, right? It will use some heat up though. Stuff like this will use sections of the heat bar, so be aware of when you're using it. Right? Sections of the heat bar is gone. So just be aware of that. When he ends being in heat, as you can see right now, he still has a token here. So if he does something like a heat smash, right? He will still end heat with having a token. He still has a token, so he can do something like this, right? So something to really, really be aware of. When you lose heat, you still have 1 token of Garuda. Now, moves that actually give him Garuda, I'm going to throw heat engages in here as well. So, forward 1+2, heat engager, we've already gone over that. Forward 3+4 is a power crush, which we've already gone over as well. Doesn't wall splat, remember. This gives us Garuda force. Down forward 1-2 gives us Garuda force. Back 3, heat engager. Down forward 1-4. Garuda force with heat engager. Back 4-3-2. This is your wall combo. However, when you're at the wall, if you want Garuda force, and when you end your combo, this is what you will do as a wall ender. This will give you Garuda force. Forward 1+2 also gives you Garuda. So when you knock people down, or with all the little follow-ups I said with this forward 1+2 is guaranteed, you will have Garuda after those interactions. And then his punch parry gives him Garuda. We've already been over this. This will give him +7 and Garuda. And then the last thing that will give him Garuda force back, I should say, is if you get a guard break and you go into RAMA stance and you do the grab, which is unbreakable, will give him Garuda back. As you can see, he's still glowing red here. Moves that he can do in Garuda force. We will go over RAMA stance right at the end. This won't take long. We're nearly at the end, guys. Garuda Force moves. So when he's doing his charge moves, like this, for example, right? Now what he can do if he has Garuda Force is if he holds down, he will get a Hell Sweep, which as you can see is -12 low high. This also jails, so if they duck the low, they can't duck the high. This is quite slow to come out. It's most useful in Oki situations. So if you have somebody at the wall and they're getting up, you can do stuff like this to trip them up, right? You know, this is where you can do stuff like, you know, this or the homing cancel is most useful at the wall. Now in Garuda Force, the charge moves, which are usually +9, become actual guard breaks, giving you a 50-50 in RAMA stance, right? So this is where this actually comes into play as being guard breaks. The 1+2 will do something like King's muscle armor, right? Where he'll power crush and then he'll do a follow-up. But this does it automatically. All you have to do is press 1+2. And he will go into this RAMA stance where he can get a 50-50 basically. One thing to note about this is that you have to be very precise. It's got a very short parry window. It power crushes for not that long at all. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because of the parry window. It's very slow recovery and can be throw punished very, very late. Because of the power crush property and it recovering late, it means it can be throw punished very, very late. So be very, very careful about how you use 1+2. Although, what you can do as a really good use for this is use it against strings which have spaces in them where you can interrupt. Like here, for example. You can do this. It's a very, very good use for 1+2. In fact, it might be the best use for it. Forward 2-1-2. Forward 2-1 is -14 mid-mid. Forward 2 is -9. But forward 2-1-2 adds a third hit, which is +2. All of them mids. Now, one thing that your opponent might know is that all you have to do to option select this is do sidestep right after the first 2 hits. I haven't set this up properly. Give me a second. You will see that's all your opponent has to do. And that's a FAHKUMRAM as well, with not the best sidestep. It's very, very easy to sidestep this. So what you might want to do instead is do the first 2 hits, they sidestep right, and then they try and retaliate, you hit them with the 1+2. This isn't bad, it is risky and it's a call out, but it's something that you can apply to try and steal your turn back if you're playing like that at least. Anyway, down forward 3+4, 3. This is something that on hit will guarantee a RAMA stance mix-up. So it's very, very good. One of his best moves in Garuda Force. You can also use this as a whiff punish, as I said in the earlier section. It is mid-mid-mid. You cannot sidestep in between the second and third hit. It can be power crushed in between the second and third hit. And it can be parried, as you saw FAHKUMRAM do, as I mentioned earlier, using it as an example of when you can use 1+2. Forward 3 gives you +4. Down forward 3+4 is 13 frames. So this, when you're in Garuda Force, is actually a very, very good frame trap. So it's something to consider. It's something that I use all the time, and it trips people up all the time. Now what we can do when we're in Garuda Force as well is we can do our proper Hell Sweep. So originally, I haven't mentioned Hell Sweeps here. And for good reason, really. I haven't really mentioned Hell Sweeps much. Because without Garuda Force, this becomes... Well, on counter hit, it is guaranteed. But without counter hit, it doesn't knock them down, right? Quite slow to start up. You can also do this as well. Although on block, a lot of people think that they're minus here. It does force crouch, but they're only -3. But in Garuda Force, what happens now, and this can be stepped either direction, by the way, but they have to time their sidestep very, very specifically. Now in Garuda Force, this becomes a proper Hell Sweep. This will wall break and balcony break, by the way. It is very, very good, especially as Oki. And particularly, the Oki is very good when used while standing 2 into the same Hell Sweep. So you can do the same Hell Sweep or same mix up here with while standing 2. So while standing 2, 4, 3 turns into a proper Hell Sweep. Again, the Hell Sweeps are stagger lows, even in Garuda, and people can interrupt you here. between the while standing 2 and the sweep. But it is very, very good nonetheless. I will just show you very quickly a good combo to do utilizing that hell sweep. If people tech roll, this is a very good option to do. Albeit quite risky, it's more of a call out. However, it is very, very good. As you can see, it gets blocked, right? So it's not guaranteed. But it is a mix there. It's a 50-50 mix when you do the hell sweep. Because you can also do, you know, something like this, right? But don't shy away from doing stuff like that. Being creative with FAHKUMRAM is always a good thing in my eyes. Okay, and that brings us to the last thing we're going to talk about, which is the RAMA stance. I've shown you all the things he can go into RAMA stance from, but what can he actually do in RAMA stance? Well, he can do the one button, which is a 19 frame plus 1 mid, which tracks to both sides. Bearing in mind, when he goes into RAMA stance, he is plus 13. He can do number 2, the 2 button, which is an unblockable. At 40 frames, can be stepped either way. It's very, very slow and reactable. He can do 3, 4. This will wall splat as well as the 1, by the way. The 1 does wall splat. The 3, 4 will wall splat. It is -9 with pushback on block. Even though it's a mid-high, this will jail. So if they block the mid, they cannot duck the high. 4 is the low option from RAMA stance. This is tracking to either direction at -13. This also wall breaks and will trigger stage gimmicks at the same time as well. And then the last option that he has is the unbreakable homing throw, which will give him Garuda Falls back. I know I'm in heat, so you can't see that, but he will get Garuda Falls back at the end of that. It is quite slow at 23 frames, but it is pretty good, especially at the wall. Now, I'll just say quickly at the end here, RAMA stance, it is not as much of a mix-up as you might think. The best way your opponent might counter RAMA stance is to do a backdash and then react to your unblockable. The only 50-50 really in RAMA stance is between the low and the mids, okay? The unblockable and the 1+3 throw, they are not proper mix-ups. The unblockable comes out slow, so you can interrupt it on reaction. The 1+3 throw can be backdashed, right? So just be aware if you're not at the wall, if you go for the throw, a lot of your opponents will know this option select will just backdash and then react to the unblockable and jab you out of it. So the best options for RAMA stance is 1, 3, 4, and the 4 button. And that brings us to the end of the guide. My voice is very worn out. I've been talking for a very long time. If there is anything that I missed out in this guide, feel free to let me know. I'm not going to get offended or anything. Just let me know in the comments, and either I will do a follow-up video if there's enough things that I missed out, or if there's a little bit here and there, I will pin a comment with the important things that I missed out. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. If you did enjoy, please do me a favor and leave a like. It really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new here and you want to find your way back, hit the subscribe button down below. That's going to be it from me. Take it easy, guys. Have fun playing FAHKUMRAM, and I will see you in the next one.